All right, good morning. Happy Thursday to everyone. Welcome to the first day of April. Let's make sure we're good to go across the board. Let's see. All right, YouTube's looking good. Okay. All right, so before we get into it, I just want to start off with an announcement. This will be the last session that I'm doing for engineering the markets. I went ahead and put my whole account on some SPY puts yesterday, and those are obviously not doing so well. So I'll need to look for a different opportunity out here. So yeah. All right, April Fools, everybody. Happy April 1st. Welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so SPY. Obviously, yesterday, pretty eventful day. The SPY, not necessarily a huge range day, but we did see some early morning momentum. And then that was followed with a bit of a pullback into the afternoon session. We're keeping this sort of bull flag structure in place. And while we haven't closed above the breakout zone, I'm seeing a lot of people who were tricked. That's pretty good. I didn't expect to trick so many people so early. We haven't really cleared the breakout zone quite yet. I would say we want to see a close above this 396.75 area, but we did have a good attempt. And while it may look relatively bearish, almost like a false breakout, we want to let the market give itself some time to see if it can continue. And we're obviously seeing a little bit of that pre-market. If we go down to the shorter time frame, most of that selling has been kind of recovered in the pre-market. So SPY is still looking relatively bullish. We are seeing some follow through from yesterday, and we'll see how far that can go. And we'll start scouting for maybe some resistance points, some areas either to take profit or to fade the market. Just like every bullish play, there's always going to be a bearish return, sort of a bearish pullback that we could play. 4-hour chart, we can see the breach of this zone. We were trading within a range over the course of a couple sessions. We're starting to breach above, and we're actually closing some 4-hour candles pre-market above, which is a good sign. We have our all-time high sitting at 398.6 on the SPY, and it looks as if short term we kind of want to just keep in mind that we have had two very similar highs in the SPY. And as we start to slowly get up into this range, this can act as a short-term area of resistance. We are seeing bullish inside of the ranges that we're playing against, but there is a bearish resistance above us. So this would be maybe a short-term target, and that would put us right at 400. So that's a pretty obvious target for the market to gravitate towards if we see a little bit of bullish drift into the weekend. And then obviously we have our channel high, which is more of a long-term target if you're playing low to high structure inside of this channel. So far that has been a fairly successful strategy, albeit there has been some volatility in the past. So if we look at our 30-day 1 hour, look at our volume profile. Value still sitting at 390. We haven't really seen much of a shift yet. We do have this volume shelf starting to form around 395. If we ever get a pullback, we would expect this to be a first place for the market to try and stage a support area, basically for the bulls to come in and say, no, this is where we want to be from now on. But right now we're pretty much at the VA high. So we're a little bit extended from the main value zone. And this is why, even with the bullish context, we still want to be cautious for these pullbacks. Just like we were somewhat cautiously bullish at the lows looking for a bounce, now we want to be cautiously bearish, maybe fading from a resistance point back to value. And that can play itself out in multiple attempts or multiple time frames. You can have different trade opportunities presenting themselves over the course of different sessions. So overall context, I'm still looking at SPY. I'm looking at maybe 4,000 being hit today, and I'm even considering some ideas for playing that potential drift to 4,000 with maybe like a butterfly or some option plays. But SPY overall is looking really good. Let's see. So in the Qs, we did see what we were basically postulating the morning before, and that was the Qs were forming a pennant. They're starting to get a little compressed in terms of price action. And when that happens, a lot of value gets placed in one area. At some point, the value will want to move away. The market will want to move away from value. And that leads to a pattern-based breakout, such that we saw in the Qs. I would say the Qs are a bit more convincing. Tech was definitely the focus yesterday, and I think it was the right play overall. Qs had a lot of follow through. We saw a little bit of a rejection at the 50 moving average, which is nothing at this point to be ultimately concerned about. But obviously, the most optimistic target is still going to be that 325. And if they can continue to sort of breach through with higher highs and higher lows over the next couple days, this pennant can be cleared. We can kind of test the high of the pennant, which is usually the target for this breakout. And then obviously that 325 is that long-term resistance that we're trying to clear. The Qs are still trapped in a range, but within that range, we do have some opportunity to take these pattern-based and structure-based breakouts. So 180-day 4-hour, we're keeping in mind the fact that the 200 in this time frame has acted as resistance for a long time. We've seen multiple basically rejections here. 3, 4, 5. And this has led to a lot of volatility in this zone. It's been very challenging for this market to clear this moving average. Yesterday, we broke through it. So we had a very convincing breakout of what has been a dynamic resistance for the past month and a half. So, to me, I'm looking at this as an opportunity. This breakout was a great trading opportunity yesterday, but it may still have some juice left in it. And that's why I'm still looking at these upward targets, 325, and then some of these relative highs that were put up in the past. If I go to the 1 hour, we'll see if value is starting to move higher. Value still sitting below us, 313.95. This is actually starting to increase slightly day after day. We were seeing it actually closer to 313. It's almost at 314 now, which means this range and some of the value perspective over the past 30 days is starting to move up. We're also losing some of the more historical price action. So based over the past month, value is starting to rise relative to what's been seen in those 30 days. We are a bit extended in this perspective. We're at the VA high of 321. So, the better sort of play, I would say, is going from VPOC to VA high. And that would have been your target having been hit yesterday and into this pre-market. At this point, now we're looking to see, can they continue? And that would be a very bullish thesis, hence why we have more aggressive targets. The conservative target was definitely this 320 to 321 area. That put us back over here at the pennant, one of the pennant inflection points. So, okay, and then if we look at our IWM, so our small caps also saw a pretty decent breakout yesterday. We had this overall downtrend that we projected into some of the more recent price action. We did see some follow through off of a potential higher low, and that has cleared some of these lower highs. I would say it's right on the breach of maybe closing above them, and therefore we could see the potential for some sort of trend change in this market. We saw, the double bottom test. It was a bit extended on the second test, hence we got that nice follow through bounce. They consolidated for a few days, and now it looks like they're starting to breach upward. So from the perspective of the daily chart, can they get above these moving averages? And can they use this consolidation to target higher prices? Once again, keeping some range rules in mind, you kind of want to take whatever the largest range of your pattern is, double it, and that's kind of your most aggressive target for a range expansion. If you get compressed, you want to expand and potentially double what your previous range was. Four-hour time frame, we can see that that breakout that occurred yesterday. Ultimately, this is kind of looking like the Qs in some respect. This is definitely a more risk-on type of index, and therefore, when I see strength in the IWM and I see strength in the Qs, I know that the market is putting a little bit more emphasis in growth and in, I would say, some relatively riskier assets versus some of the SPY assets. So there's definitely a rotation back into these areas, and what we need to see now is, can they hold it? Are they going to back test some of these patterns and then move us higher, or is this just a 1 to 2 day breakout? They'll roll it over, and then obviously we'll be targeting some of those deeper lows that we had on a false breakout. So IWM looking really good. We do have the 200 sitting above us. It has acted as a little bit of inflection, maybe a little bit of a congestion in the past. So I'm not too concerned with this dynamic resistance, but it is something to keep in mind. I think just like you would keep in mind the 20, 50, and 200 on the daily, the 4-hour will still give you a little bit of a challenge, especially if you're playing this intraday or for a swing. And let's look at our 1 hour. Pull up our volume or value, sitting right at 220. So if we're at VPOC, market could go pretty much in any direction based on this perspective. VA low at 215. I would say that the move from the pennant low to VPOC was sort of that low to high structure of playing the extended lows into VPOC. So we're definitely at target for that first move of value. Now, if they can continue higher, we'd play VPOC to the VA high, and that would put us around 228, which I would say 227.50 is a more clear area. We've had a lot of price interaction at these points at 227, so that would probably be what I would be looking at. Everything in between, there's actually not a lot of price action here. So this move could be pretty quick, because what I'm seeing in the value area is a little bit of a pocket. So we could easily go through this pocket pretty quickly. We may pause at 225, and then that final target would be 227.50. So if you're bullish in this index, those are some potential targets that also correspond with whole dollar amounts and where price has interacted in the past. So what are some things that occurred yesterday that facilitated this move? Well, if you were on yesterday, you would know that I was looking quite heavily at Apple. Apple had a gap up yesterday morning. We even had a price upgrade that maybe facilitated the gap up. And similar to the Qs, Apple was starting to get really tight in its consolidation range. Now, when you're an intraday trader, this is frustrating because the range is relatively small. It's very challenging to have good risk to reward when your stock is only moving maybe half or 75% of its normal range. So obviously people have been less inclined to trade some of the tech names like Apple because whether or not they don't like the volatility of it or they just don't see much of a daily pattern to play off of, those are valid points. But what's happening is that price is compressing itself. We're getting range compression and value accumulation. When that occurs, you get your patterns, which in this case is a pennant. And when those pennants or patterns break, we get what was previously range compression into range expansion. Now, Apple is just getting started. It just broke out over one day, so this easily could be a false breakout. However, it offered some really great intraday opportunities on that breakout. And if we look at the 5-minute, we can see that Apple, if you were playing in the morning session, had a really nice push into 123. We saw some consolidation, another slight push, and then obviously the sell-off that occurred yesterday afternoon. Even with that sell-off, Apple is still gapping up this morning, and we do see that it's holding some of this pre-market high that occurred yesterday. So with that range compression, there is enough potential momentum to get us to higher price levels on a breakout. And what we want to see is not just one day, but maybe 2 days of follow through to really be convinced that that momentum is taking place. We also saw Microsoft relatively strong on the intraday session, also facilitated by a little bit of news and a catalyst. Microsoft had a really great morning session. It pulled down quite heavily, I would say. It actually faded back to VWAP on the shorter time frames. And then we had that news that they're starting to facilitate some HoloLens augmented reality headsets for the military. So that provided a really nice pop. If you're a trend trader, you would have been looking at Microsoft's morning range, holding through a lot of this, maybe taking profit, and then you had an opportunity to add into what was at the time an unknown catalyst, but you got a really nice pop. So really good follow through in Microsoft. I want to see if this starts to break through this 240 area. And this would be, once again, a lot of range compression, probably more than Apple has seen. And that can lead to a very powerful breakout. Or if it fails, just like everything else, it could roll over and break down pretty hard. But either way, there is opportunity here. And the tech sector is starting to give us a little bit more life than it has in the past. Some other notable things, we saw Tesla really follow through from the previous session. We noted that 600 continued to be an area of support. Buyers were willing to step into 600 and really push Tesla's price higher. And while they did put up a little bit of maybe a trap down here for more downside, this push and this continuation is looking really convincing. So overall, the 600 to 680 move that we've gotten in Tesla, we'll see if it can continue. And if it does, we'll be targeting probably this 719 high. And then, maybe the 20 moving average on the daily chart. That's going to take a little bit of time to get there. So Tesla's looking good. Amazon woke up a little bit. I would say it's still kind of trapped here, but we did see a little bit of intraday momentum, and that's mostly based on the Qs. The fact that the Qs were moving, Amazon kind of followed suit. So, tech sector woke up. We're very glad to see that. It provides some really good trading opportunities and names that we like to trade. Yesterday, called this out in the morning. I just wanted to kind of reiterate what I'm seeing and the fact that it is starting to confirm itself. Very similar to the IWM, these sharp sell-offs into a strong bounce. When you get this double bottom test, I usually start to just pay attention to the price action, because for shorts, it's quite hard to lose this bounce point. Excuse me. It's usually quite hard to lose this bounce point on the second test, just because of how overextended to the downside it is. And what that offers is, if you're long-term bullish on this index or this ETF, it can offer a really great buying point. But secondly, it can offer some trading opportunity. So what we're seeing is there's a little bit of potential here for some continuation off of this bounce point. And, obviously you want to stay conservative at first until maybe the market proves it to you. I'm definitely targeting, 140 for the first target off of this bounce. And that'll bring us to the 20 moving average. 150 will bring us to the 50. And I think that is plenty of, that's a pretty conservative target given what we've seen in the past. We also are noting that IWM had a decent bounce as well. And if IWM remains strong, along with healthcare and technology remaining strong, this sector can actually outperform most of them. It tends to be the more volatile, and everything kind of has to be in the right place for it to really be bullish. But when it is bullish, it can outperform. So I was interested in this yesterday. I started some positions here yesterday, and I've already taken a little bit of profit as we got some follow through. You can play this intraday. I know some people use leveraged ETFs. We had Brian in our chat room actually take Labu long based off of that XBI bounce. And while XBI went up 3-4%, Labu went up 12%. So if you're intraday and you like, just the range that this can provide, you can look at some of these leverage ETFs to play them intraday. So really great follow through. I'm still holding some long XBI, and definitely looking for higher targets at this point. Some other notable activities from yesterday. Brian mentioned how the dollar in his swing trading video had a little bit of it hasn't really pulled back a lot, but it hasn't gone up. So it's consolidating. Based on that consolidation, silver got a little bit of a bounce, and gold got, I would say, more of a convincing bounce. Once again, that pattern is showing up everywhere, where you have this extended downside, you have a clear support area, and then you come back down to back test it. When I see this, I see the potential for some short-term opportunity back up, because I do not think they will lose that support area on the second test. And then long-term, if it's at an area that you're interested to be a buyer for an investment, for a core trade, whatever it happens to be, that can offer basically 2 for 1. You're getting it at a good price, you're getting a trade opportunity, and you're able to maybe accumulate a long position if you are bullish in the thing that you're looking at. So there's definitely some oversold areas that I'm starting to maybe consider. You can trade them first and then kind of wait for more of the trend change confirmation. But for me, I like buying sort of on the downswing and looking for some follow through to maybe add or just take off profits if it's not looking like it's going to continue. So I'm definitely more of a support buyer than a momentum chaser. Let's see. So gold and silver, a little bit of a bounce. We're seeing the VIX this morning once again crushed to the downside. I'm actually quite surprised at how low the VIX has gotten in recent past. If we look at the 5-year chart, we've definitely gone back and filled this gap in the VIX. I don't know if that means anything in this perspective. This is the first time I've actually seen this happen on the VIX, but ultimately the VIX is still compressed. Just like any compressed market, we want to be a little cautious. The VIX can easily go from that compressed state into an expansive state, and the expansion of the VIX can lead to some volatility in the markets. So, for the SPY, for the Qs, I'm seeing that bullish drift. I'm seeing some short-term breakouts, but I'm keeping in mind that the VIX is at some of the lowest levels it's seen in a long time. And typically, if it's going to be that low, sometimes the only place to go is up. So I'm keeping that in mind. I definitely don't want to be too early to the VIX party. I don't want to hedge too early, but once again, these levels, it's pretty attractive to build a hedge if you think the market is going to get squirrely at any point. Let's see. I guess some other things that I was looking at, more on the stock and ETF side. I brought up MSOS, which might not have been maybe a name that people are familiar with. This is going to be the American cannabis sector names, and I brought up a few of those names in a previous video. We did see that gap fill, which was part of this huge head and shoulder structure above us. So we got this 1 day of follow through, filled this gap, and then we got this huge reversal engulfing just a ton of momentum off of this gap fill. I was a bit unsure how to play this because the structure is bearish, but the gap fill to me is a bullish trigger. Once you fill the gap, I typically will play the reversal. After the gap fills, I expect the price to go in the opposite direction. So I was kind of torn between structure and short-term gap fill plays. I think for now, I'm looking at this as maybe a trade opportunity. I would love to get a pullback because it kind of went too far too fast, in my opinion. But this could be a short-term trade opportunity that once again may offer a good buying point if you're bullish in any of these names or in this sector. We can also look at, I just use another ETF called MJ for more of the Canadian-based names. This one's been consolidating for quite a while. Not really seeing too much opportunity here, but overall, there is a lot of range compression, maybe a little bit of a gap up, maybe a spark off of some of that news yesterday. And if the American sector is strong, this could easily outperform with some of the momentum that we've seen in the past. So definitely some trade opportunities here. I just want to kind of let this one play out a little bit more because we have competing ideas. We have a bearish pattern, but we have a bullish structure on the gap fill. So I think that's about my time. I don't really have much else except for TAN, which I brought up and Brian's been looking at as well. We did get a nice breakout and looks like some follow through. So I've been, looking at TAN. I've added a core position here and really looking to see how this one plays out over the next year and throughout the presidential term that we're currently in. So, all right, y'all. That's all I got for today. New month, new challenges for us to face. We'll see what April has to bring. Be looking at some more rotation as SPY creeps into roughly the 400 range. If tech is going to perform, we want to see it perform for a couple of days. And then whether or not those other sectors are just going to sell or are they going to consolidate. That can lead to a very healthy market and a relatively bullish one if tech is the outperformer once again. So with that said, I'm Jared. This has been Engineering the Markets. Have a happy and safe Thursday. And given that it's a short week, y'all have a happy and safe weekend. Take it easy. I'll see y'all on Monday. Trade safe.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. How are you doing? I'm good.
Doing good. Doing good. All right, excellent, guys. Let's get to what we had yesterday on our list, starting with CHWY Chewy here.
Before we get rolling, hit those
Yeah.
likes for Jared, please.
Yes, absolutely, guys. Make sure you do that. I saw a comment about people are learning so much with Jared, ourselves included. Jared knows his stuff about the market, so let's give him a nice thumbs up there. Guys, CHWY was on our list yesterday. Typically, this stock doesn't trade very well, but yesterday actually it moved pretty decent in some parts of the day, not all of them. Right here was very tough. You can see the choppiness, but at the beginning, beautiful drop here, beautiful continuation. If you took a 5-minute opening range breakdown, and then from here was a very nice trend trade. If he was able to get a good entry and survive some of this chop, or not even touch it in this chop, get in somewhere in here, you would have a very nice trade. This was very nice. It dropped about $2 after VWAP here. So again, it turned out pretty good there. Next, we have Fuel Cell. Fuel Cell was also a little bit interesting. We was trading a breakout here around 1394. Excuse me. You did get one initial pop. You probably took out one partial. Then from there, it stopped me at least out of break even, right? So I'm glad I did. Look at this drop here right after that. It does settle down later on. You get a beautiful breakout here, and it gets a little bit better down the line later in the day. So a couple opportunities and breakouts here on a Fuel Cell down the line. Here was Plug. Plug was amazing, guys. This was a beautiful trade towards the downside. Again, I did not get into around here. I didn't trust this drop here. This pullback was too aggressive. But here, once it lost this level, started leaving the VWAP, great entry. Beautiful continuation. I did not get this right down, obviously, because of this pullback here stopped me out. But again, if he was able to survive that beautiful drop there and then a pop over towards the VWAP as well, then you get a little bit of a chop between 11 and 1 o'clock or so. Finally breaks out of here towards the end of the day. So if you're watching this one closely here, I was actually watching this. I usually not trading this late in the day, but I did not take the trade. I was done for the day already. But you can see here the nice push up, the little fake out here trying to lose the VWAP. Nice fake, nice push up towards the top there on unplug. Here was Apple. Apple, beautiful day yesterday, and it's funny. We looked at Apple and we knew. Norm, I think you brought this up. The pre-market did not look great, right? It was not looking great at the pre-market, but everything on the daily, talking about the tech sector and everything that's going on there, this thing traded very well yesterday. Nice, beautiful pop here. It did sell off right after the bell, but it did recover nicely. And just look at the change in direction here. Just a beautiful move towards the top side. It was very strong for almost the entire part of the morning. Then it kind of gave some back towards the end of the day there, towards the second half of the day. Here was Neo. Neo, another one that traded very clean. This is a beautiful drop, opening range breakdown on the 5-minute. Great continuation. You did get a reversal here. Tough trade to take, but after it gets above the VO, that could be a nice one as well. So you got a couple of moves here on NEO, came back down to test this area, this low of the day as support, did very well, and you can see the beautiful takeoff here back towards the high of the day in the second half of the day here. So again, very nice there. Mara was very good also. Again, guys, we had a lot of good trading stocks yesterday. Our watch list did not look this great when we started the morning yesterday, but it turned out to be pretty good. Here's Mara. Mara comes towards the high of the pre-market, cannot take off here, struggling big time. I think I called this out here for a possible. If it can get above these levels, it didn't, so we didn't take it there. Later in the day, guys, comes back around 11 o'clock. Again, testing this level, this pre-market high, and you can see the takeoff here. Volume comes in, and just what a run on Mara there yesterday. So again, some pretty good opportunities, guys. Again, it just shows you how you just got to be patient sometimes and wait for that setup. It comes back and does that very nice there. There were some other ones too, but we don't have time to go through all of them. Let's take a look at overall SPY for today and what's coming up for this week. Well, for the last day of the week.
For today.
For today.
For today. Yeah, man. So, Jared went through this nicely. I mentioned it yesterday. We were kind of stuck in a choppy area. It looks like we may be trying to break free of that, which would be a welcome change. So we'll see. Yesterday, trading was a little bit better than it had been in the last couple of weeks. It's still not phenomenal. I kind of sat it out. But anyway, we're right here at those all-time highs. So this is a nice daily. If I saw this on an individual stock I was about to trade, I'd love to, get ready to latch onto it. So, whether we have the volume to do it before a long weekend or not, we'll see. Or if we're going to sit until next week. But, there's pretty good strength across the board in tech. Q's right up at that point of resistance, that 324, 325 area that have been, tough for us to break through. But we've gotten through some moving averages the last couple of days. So let's see. As far as economic data today, 8:30, we had initial and continuing jobless claims. The initial claims came out a little bit worse than expected, and continuing claims came out were roughly in line with what was expected. It looks like the initial claims were 719 actual versus a 680 estimate. So as I said, a little bit worse. Then 945 market manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing index at 10. Then construction spending at 10. And then, of course, it's the first of the month, so we will have all the auto companies that report their sales delivery figures coming out over the next few days. So that is what I got. I want to clear up two things. Number one, today was not Jared's last show. That was a April Fool's joke, so he'll be back next week. And then the other thing, don't forget the market is closed tomorrow. Don't be the person emailing why they can't get in the chat room. There will be no chat room. Market's closed. Everybody needs to take a day off. Go enjoy your family. Go enjoy the outdoors. Do something fun.
There's probably about 10
it
people
always happens.
That are not on right now hearing you. That will email.
Always happens.
All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's start over here with our watch list. Let's remove our old watch list here. Let's make some rows and let's see what we have today. Again, a lot in the green today, guys, as you can see. Let's start with UPC. 6.3 million shares flow on this one. It's got some momentum, it's got some volume here, up 40%. So this looks interesting. We can put this on here. That could be the low flow of today because I don't see many low flow stocks in our gapping up scanner this morning. I think this is the one. So UPC, we'll put that on there. Let's see how that goes. 2.8 right now, looking pretty good this morning. Former runner, we see here a couple of days ago, this shot up from 414 over to 12. So that could be
sold the whole thing off.
Sold off right
that
back.
Was a hell of a sell-off all day.
So this is a great pre-market action, and then just the whole day sell-off, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens today. Not a stranger to some of these double-digit numbers here from $4. So see what happens there. FTFT this morning, they are looking really active today. They're up 25%, 7.8 million shares traded. I like this pre-market action right now. This one can trade very well, and today could be one of those days. Now, it's not a low flow stock, so I'll put it up here on my main list, but just be careful with the number of shares you take on this one. Again, it still can move pretty good on you. For example, right now, the low of the pre-market is 612, and your high is 804. So $2 move on a $7 price target right now is pretty good. So we'll keep an eye on that one, guys. Looking good at the moment. UAVS, this one is on our list here because it's up 20%, 560,000 shares traded. Doesn't look very good at the moment, though. Something about it. Pre-market action is not as active. I think we can find something better, guys. I'm going to keep this one off. If it gets better, throw it back out to me, but we'll keep this one off the list. Now, QS, this is a stock that I usually don't watch. I don't like the way it trades, but man, if you look at Eamon and some of you other guys trading this stock, you guys do very well on this one. So I've seen some pretty good recaps and tweets on this one. Let's take a look at it later down the line. Right now, there are 506,000 shares traded. It is up 15.3 at the moment. Again, pre-market action is not that bad. Nice pop up today. So let's take a look at that one a little bit later. CHPT, this one is up 14.4, 800,000 shares traded. I do like the daily, a nice little pop, nice continuation of the last couple of days. Pre-market action, what am I seeing here? I think we got a little bit of a spread here, 10 cents, not great. Hopefully that gets better in the pre-market. The flow on this one, 139. Okay, the last couple of days you can see here, a couple of weeks, you can see the volume has gotten a little bit better. For the most part, they don't trade very well, so their daily's pretty crappy here. But you can see the change in the candles as more volume is coming in, getting towards that 10 million. Still not great, but yesterday they had 18 million. Today they're pushing up higher. How's the short flow interest? Not bad, only 6. So we'll see. Let's keep it on here. Typically not something we will put on our list, but today could be interesting to watch this one this morning. And FNKO, this one is 19 million shares float, and it's not looking good. If you compare this to like a UPC right here, right? If you look at this one, you have 448,000, it's up 10%. But look how clean this looks. This is what you want to see on these low flow stocks. You want to see that volume rushing in. You're not getting that on FNKO, so we're going to skip on that for now. BLNK, this is another one on our list this morning.
FNKO acquired something to get into the NFT space.
Okay. I would love to hear what they acquire, because sometimes this stuff is very interesting. All right, so they are doing a NFT now, FNKO.
Yes.
Acquire something. Okay. All right. I mean, again, I don't know how that catalyst is going
I don't
to
know
trade.
if it's I don't know if it will or not, buddy, but I was just spitting it out there. Spread's pretty nasty there. 30 40 cents on a $20 stock isn't a good spread, so it's concerning.
And also at 19 million shares flow is a little bit concerning. I agree. BLNK, guys, beautiful breakout out of 4109. That was the previous day close of yesterday, but it's also been a great area of resistance, as you can see right on here. So a lot of touches on this. We're getting above that now. Could be interesting. Typically their price action for me is not great. The only reason why I'm putting them down as say possible for now. So I just want to take a second look at it, but I do love this daily breakout that they're getting here for a possible continuation. Let's look at Ride this morning. Ride today, they're been consolidating over the last couple of days. This is the one that took a big hit. They gapped down huge on this day. I remember that. Forgot the catalyst on it.
They got hit by a short seller, I believe.
Yeah, something like that, right? They sold.
And they also had some issues with USPS trucks that they're supposed to produce, and a contract and a few things like that. So it was a couple of different deals.
Right. So they've been getting slammed. They're definitely even below their IPO price now for the last couple of weeks. Could be interesting, guys, but we've been watching the price action. I have the last couple of days in here for a possible swing trade or bounce on a whole different thing. And the price action for day trading looks horrible. So I don't know if it's going to get any better. I would love to see this pop up here, but for the most part right now, we'll keep it off for now. I think today we're going to find a lot of stuff is going to look a lot better. All right, I'm going to stop here, guys. Actually, no, let's take a look at NEO, because NEO is always fun to watch. What we got going on NEO today?
NEO's release. It's auto deliveries that I'm talking about, and they had pretty good numbers. So.
Oh, yeah. NEO looks great.
And yes, USPS thing was workhorse. You guys are right.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, I see so many of these EVs every day. I'm sorry, I can't even. I don't even know what day it is this morning. I'm gonna probably email Andrew tomorrow and ask why the chat isn't open. So I
You'll
apologize.
probably be the one emailing me, hey, why you're not ready
Yeah,
to go?
I'm gonna be that guy.
Oh man. So here we go, guys. Neo this morning. Yeah, it looks very good, guys. Great daily as well. We talked about this before in the past couple of days. Looking good, guys. So we're gonna keep it on here. 6.1, 2.6 million. And NDM is not great. We have Neo. Let's take a look at Workhorse. No, not great. We'll skip on that one. I just want to see if any tickers that stick out. You know what? I'll leave it to you guys to point out anything that looks great that you like this morning. Before we do that, let's look at what's gapping down. TLS. Not looking great at all, guys. Down 10%, but look at this volume here. Only 105,000 shares traded. That is not
These
gonna
all
cut
kind of
it.
stink, frankly.
Yeah. Ooh, look at this. This is pretty bad too. Envis, I don't like Envis. We talk about this all the time. I don't think it trades very clean. Had a huge day yesterday though. What happened yesterday? Let's take a look at that. Pop from 13 over almost to 19. When does this occur? So just a breakout here late in the afternoon. And yes, probably some news on this here. Could be interesting depending on what that news is or catalyst there. But again, I'll skip on it for now. You guys throw it back out to me if it looks good. BOMN, not good at the moment. XL, no, this is not great. You're right, Norm. Nothing here looks great. EBON, wow. What's going on here?
That just popped up.
That just came up. All right, somebody flushing the stock here nicely. Somebody messed up. All right, so let's put EBO in here today, guys. We'll come back to this. I'm down 13% right now, 527,000 shares traded. It's a nice big drop there, $1 so far. And here's Rayo, and Rayo is not looking good neither. All right, let's start with our internal chat here, guys. What do you guys like this morning? MU? Oh, that's right.
Absolutely.
MU, yes. MU, nice pop-up today. What's the catalyst?
Earnings last night. Acquisition. They picking up, I think, was it Taiwanese, South Korean? They're picking up a chip manufacturer over there. They beat earnings, top and bottom line. So,
all right, they're looking good this morning. 501,000 shares traded. Now for MU, guys, that is great volume. They typically, you guys know, we watched this stock. We watched this stock many times back in the day. We haven't seen it in a while trade very well, but today they're looking good this morning. So we'll keep an eye on that, and they have a catalyst, which is awesome. You have any other ones, Norman, that look good for you this morning?
That's the main one, man.
Okay, excellent. Let's start with Jack. Jack, you're giving us. I just saw you. What's your name? Just lost Jack. Jack Smith. Here we go. Fuel cell. Let's see what we got going on there. Fuel cell. You know what? Yeah,
these are all good plays. The plug, the fuel cell, all this stuff on this infrastructure, Green New Deal stuff going on that's being talked about.
Absolutely. I like plug, so I'm gonna watch plug instead. Fuel cell is okay. I don't know. Sometimes it could trade very well, but plug for sure. I do like plug very much. I had a couple of nice trades on plug this morning. They're popping up 4.6, 500, 400, 358. I'm gonna add fuel cell here, guys, because it is in play today, as Nor mentioned, and it can run pretty nicely. Yesterday I had a couple of good pops there too.
We've got a video game classroom over on YouTube. I appreciate the update. Thank you. He just came out and said there's an offering, so secondary on EBON, and that's what the catalyst is there. So it might be a decent catalyst. It's definitely caused a drop. Secondaries aren't always great catalysts, but who knows? Maybe that one is today.
Yeah, and I notice this secondary catalyst when it's on stocks that are very active, like a stock that we watch. For example, if a secondary on AMD, and that's going to happen, it tends to trade very well because still a lot of volume and volatility on AMD for the most part. I'm just throwing one out of the top of my head,
high flyers. You get a high flyer that has a secondary. I mean, CBS is a perfect example. It caused a complete. Chaos in the markets for multiple days, and shorts on CBS would have been phenomenal. Viacom, VIAC ticker. But anyway, so that EBON, it's been very active recently. That could be.
Yeah, this could be interesting. So we'll definitely see how that's going to play out today.
Right, I don't believe the offer price is out. That usually comes out after.
Okay. Let's take a look at it. So thank you for that, for sharing that info over on our YouTube chat. XPEV, what do we have here? This one is up again, similar to plug and fuel cell or Neo on here. Right, all these things are popping up nicely. So XPEV, I would like to watch XPEV as a possible. So
it is out.
It is
Somebody
out.
says 610. Yeah, it's
610.
hard to watch the news as we're doing it. So
Oh, of course.
I
I can
appreciate the
imagine.
updates.
Yeah. I could barely read the stuff that people are putting in our different chats here and do the show. So watching the news, I could imagine it's very difficult. Plug we have, guys. So thank you for that. Tesla. I'm sure Tesla is looking good today too. I'm gonna watch NEO and XBEV instead, but Tesla also popping up 2.8, 684,000. Again, guys, all these EV tickers are in good situation today. Let's take a look at Foxtra Uniform Tango Uniform. This one
F you to
here,
you as well.
this one here is popping up nicely, guys. 3.2, 364,000 shares traded. Again, you can watch this. Got a couple of days here. I mean, 100 to 63. This is up $60 in the last 6-7 days. That's just amazing. But again, I don't like the intraday trade. So I'm gonna stay away
F
from
me
that
for
one.
not trading it.
Exactly, for not swinging it.
Mhm.
BA here, guys. This one is pretty quiet right now at the moment. So I don't see a whole lot going on. There's only 67,000 shares traded. Their daily looks good. We've been talking about this for a possible breakout and a test of some of these higher levels. But I think the play today is going to be on these other stocks we have here on our list. So maybe a secondary, even, I mean, I don't want to put it as a secondary, to be honest. I just don't see a whole lot of volume in there right now. PLTR, that can change, obviously, as the market opens. PLTR this morning, what do we have here? They are, let's get this linked up. PLTR up 2.9, 844,000 shares traded. How did it trade yesterday? I know yesterday it popped up on our list. I did not watch it. Oh man, look at this. It was, again, I'm just looking at after the fact. I don't know how clean this price action was, but it does look pretty decent. Again, when we don't watch this one, it tends to trade very well. I'm sure I'll put it on my list today, and it's going to be probably horrible.
Trade well
PLTR,
is relative on
yeah,
PLTR. It's tough as hell.
it is. It is. We'll add it on here, guys. MU is good. Apple, yes, Apple is in play too, and the tech sector is also. So we'll throw that on there. Again, not a clean pre-market action, but we saw what it did yesterday. It had the same type of pre-market action. It wasn't great, but we knew the way this thing, the way the whole tech sector is right now. And Jair's been talking about this in the morning, so we won't get into it too much. You can see the consolidation happening here on Apple too. It has been trading nasty the last couple of days, a couple of weeks, really, the whole month of March. Let's see if that's going to break out. That could be a lot of fun there on Apple. All right, we have, what's our time here? Okay, we got a time for maybe 2 more. TME. No, I don't know about TME today. Again, I think we had a lot of fun here. The last couple of days, I don't think are not going to be great. I think they can be very, very choppy on these stocks. So just be mindful on that one. I'm not going to be watching. I think we have some pretty fun ones here that are already very, very active. Now, don't get me wrong. This one has 1.3 million shares, up 2.6. But I'm gonna leave some of my ammo for some of the stuff that I have here on deck. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's take over a few from YouTube. Let's start with Brandy. Brandy, you're giving us PDD. PDD is typically not a great trading intraday trading stock. Today they're up 5.3, but again, just their pre-market is not looking good. Their daily, I see what you're looking at, this consolidation for a possible breakout. But again, I just don't know if that breakout is going to be clean. So I'm gonna bet my money on something else today. COTI, what do we have here? Cody.
No,
Oh, that's not
it's
coming up. I
some
see
kind
you're
of
asking.
crypto garbage.
Okay, yeah, no, so we're not gonna look at that. XPEG we do have on deck, guys. That is good.
Or
Microsoft,
it's
Microsoft.
either that or an Argentinian Latin pop rock singer. I'm not sure which one they're referring to.
That's what Google came out with.
I'd rather go with the Argentinian Latin pop rock singer. But
At least you know what you're getting. Here with Microsoft, guys, I'd rather watch Apple today. I think Apple's a lot better for my tech play this morning. They're down a little bit more, so I think they have a little bit more room to run as well. Not saying that Microsoft cannot be great, but Apple's gonna, they're gonna get the volume, and they're going to be a better intraday trading stock. Microsoft is not. So it's also, look at the daily. Wow, it's just brutal here. I mean, Apple's bad, but this is worse for sure. But I see what you're looking at for a possible breakout, but I don't think that's great right now. The travel sector at the moment, they had a good day. What's this? This was Tuesday. But they've just been chopping around the last couple of days, right at this area previous support here. So again, I think there is a pop here coming eventually. But I don't know if today's the day to watch these. I mean, this is definitely not in play right now, guys. It's pretty much flat. 281,000 shares traded for American Airlines is very, very light volume. So I just don't think they're in play. Let's take a look at CCL. We usually pair those two up together to get a sense of what's going on here. This one's also one that's heavily traded. You're not seeing much volume neither on this one. So again, we know those tickers, so we can also look at those in our scanners. SQ the last 2 days, man. Wow. This thing has been unreal. Somebody called it out yesterday in the chat room, and it was just insane. Look at the move here. So clean yesterday. So, again, they're getting a little bit of a great reversal here. They had a good support, not reversal pop here off of this, obviously. 201 to 215, just banging their heads up out of here. And then finally, yesterday it broke out. Possible continuation today, guys. I do like to keep an eye on SQ as well. So we'll keep that on there. So thank you for that one. Let's take a look at BABA. Let's see here. BABA, what do we have? It's okay. Again, BABA for me is a little bit slightly difficult to trade. I don't like the price action on it too much. But yeah, it's okay. It's not great. We'll have to see how it plays out. All right, guys, let's stop here. Let's go over to announcements. We'll come back and we'll fine tune this list today.
All right, guys. Mike's transition webinar is posted. Next week, we'll have Luke Jacoby from Benzinga talking about what matters and what doesn't in terms of news. That should be interesting. We have Benzinga Squawk in the room, live squawk, that is very fast breaking news over the speakers audio. So that is a perfect accompaniment for our Benzinga Squawk. And I apologize. I still have not fixed this slide. Carlos, Mike, what's next week's psychology webinar? I should have fixed this thing, and somehow I, like, for instance, don't know the day of the week. Do you know, Carlos?
No, it's Dr. Reed. It's next week.
Dr. Reed. Fantastic. So that's always good when he comes in. We'll have Dr. Reed. That'll be next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, if you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade with the entries and exits, of course, and then put any commentary you can describing the trade. Post it on Twitter, tagging @BearbullTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT family, day trading, and stock market. We will pick a winner to announce each day in the closing bell show. And then the trades of the week will be chosen from the trades of the day, team votes over the weekend. That'll be announced on Monday on Twitter and the closing bell show as well. If you're watching us on Twitter, haven't been in the chat, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24 to get a discount off the intro membership. That is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room, doesn't auto renew or turn into anything else. It's just a one and done. And then you can decide if it's a good fit for you. It also includes the onboarding class and technology classes that are live each Monday night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look, wrong screen. Here we go. Let's look at our watch list today. So we have FT on here. Again, they have 9.1 million shares traded, so they got a lot going on right there. This morning they're popping up 22%, so that could be interesting. QS for me might be a possible, but it got a nice little pop today. I'm looking forward to see how this is going to trade. They got some decent volume. CHPT, this one again, beautiful pop here, 14.3, 901. So we'll keep an eye on that one. I like that one. NEO is definitely going to be one of my favorite ones to watch this morning, alongside MU here and Plug as well. Definitely like this area on what they're doing here today. So I think my watch list from the main one looks good. And again, guys, today is going to be a day where there's a lot to watch, a lot that's gapping up. Obviously, as you can see how much stocks we have here, tickers we have here in the green, above 5%, 3% easily. So there's a lot out there to watch. You're going to have to be very, very picky on what you're going to select this morning. So on our secondary list, we have Apple, which actually could be a main one. I actually got to move this up because Apple could be very, very good today. I want to have that front and center. So let's move that up there. We'll delete this from our secondary list. And then we have a secondary list, PLTR. That is looking good right now. It's just, can it trade clean at the opening bell? EBON here, we'll keep a close eye on that one. BLKB is good of secondary. Fuel cell is good. XPEF is also very similar to NEO. So we'll have NEO on our main list, but as we have NEO here, we can keep in mind XPEF. And SQ has had 2 amazing days here. Can they continue this push up, or can they have the legs to keep going higher here? And not just that, trade as clean as they did yesterday. So a good secondary ticker there as well. All right, let's do levels. So we'll do FTFT first. This one has a nice little pop here. High of the pre-market is 804, so we'll throw a level there. Above that, it gets a little messy here on this daily, as you can see. Even up here, every time it went above $8, it looks like it just gets a little bit wild. So let's find the best levels possible. They're not going to be great, because when you have a daily like this, you're not going to find clean, amazing levels, right? But 858 is a good one there. Right in between here, we got a couple of touches here on these 2 days, maybe 917, and then here it just gets pretty crappy. So I'm just going to put in 1041. But again, guys, if we ever get a move from, if you're in a $7 stock and you get a move over 858, 917, $10, you got to start looking at the whole dollars, right? The 950, you know, the whole dollar numbers. You want to make sure you're taking partials and putting some money in your pocket if you do get that type of run. It's a big run to get. Towards the bottom, guys, we have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days right on here. Then we also have 749, a good area of resistance right on there that can now become support. In the pre-market already, we're seeing some of that action touching that 750 area, so that's good. Heading down towards the bottom, we have QS is next. Again, typically this stock, I've seen you guys trade very well, so I want to have it ready today just in case we're going to get that type of day. It has a very nice pop of 15.4. So this can go either way here. Are we going to push higher, or are we going to come back down and start closing this gap towards that 46 level? So high of the pre-market, 52.50. The low of the pre-market, a couple of touches early on in the pre-market, but not with a whole lot of volume, obviously. 50.18, so we have that there. And then outside of this range, towards the top of this daily is not all that great, but you do have a very clean level here, guys. 55.47. Look how beautiful that level is. Tons of touches there, so you definitely want to have that on deck. Now, towards the bottom, below that 50.18, you have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, but you also have an area right on here where you have a lot of touches as well. 48.95, great area of support, resistance, more support and resistance on here as well. So you want to have that level there just in case. All right, so that looks good right now, guys. Pre-market action is okay, could be better, but I do like this pop this morning. I want to see what this is going to do today. CHPT, guys, beautiful takeoff here. A nice continuation from yesterday's run. High of the pre-market, 30.88. The low of the pre-market, below the high from yesterday, right? That's the high from yesterday here, this red line. So towards the bottom of that, we do have 27.30. So I'm going to mark that down there. And if we move over to the left, what do we have above this pre-market high? Yeah, as we spoke earlier, this daily gets a little crappy here. But I am going to find a level right over here. Looks like we have a couple of touches on there. Not great, but you do have some bit of support here. Yes, this week does drop down here and comes back up. But notice it comes back up above this 32.48, where you're finding some kind of support. We broke down again, and then here that became a resistance after that. So 32.48 looks good, and then the top of this somewhat consolidation is at 34.85. So looking pretty strong this morning. Couple of really good days here with some good volume coming in yesterday, 18 million. Let's see if that's going to continue. Already 965 this morning with a decent pre-market activity. Here is Neo looking very good, guys. Let's hope it doesn't get too extended for us here. Well, for me, because I can trade in the pre-market, but if you are trading this in the pre-market, be very careful. 41.23 here, guys. Great level of support and resistance right on there. You can see that again. This wick is messing the candle up a little bit, but you can see that also being an area of consolidation on Neo, even in the pre-market. Above that, our pre-market high right now, I'm not going to mark it just yet because I think this thing can be very explosive. It looks like it's going to go higher. We do have a couple of levels here. We have 43.10, great area, another one that has a lot of touches, support and resistance. Look how many days are opening and closing right at that 43.10. So you want to have that on there as well. Above that, you have a very clean level here at 46.17. You have some other ones in here you can mark as well. I don't want to oversaturate the chart, but you have another one here as well, 44.68. Great area also, a lot of touches there as well. So again, plenty of levels here, and you can find these very clean levels because Neo's daily has been pretty decent. I mean, look how great this daily has. It's very similar to what Apple has been doing. So if you look at not Apple, sorry, Tesla, what Tesla has been doing. If you look at Tesla's weather daily, very similar. The drop, the pop up, the drop again, and now the push up higher today. So I thought we had Tesla as a possible. Yeah, we do. We should. I'll put it on there now. All right, so here's Neo, guys, looking very good this morning. High of the pre-market, 42.14. Let's throw a level there now. Let's see if it wants to take a little break. and come back down, but 42.14 high of the pre-market at the moment. Let's look at MU today. So MU right now, what do we have going on? MU low of the pre-market 91, high of the pre-market 93.16. So again, guys, big pop for MU this morning. They don't usually move like this. But they do have a catalyst today. It's a positive catalyst, so we'll take a look at that one. We do have a top over here, 95.53, great area of resistance. That could be a great target if we're going to be strong today. And if we're not, we have a great gap that we can fill here towards the bottom, over to 89. So I'm looking forward to MU going in any direction today, but hopefully towards the top and get a nice little squeeze going to 95.53. Here is plug, guys. We have some levels from before. Let's remove those. At the moment, let's see what we got going on. Their pre-market actually is not as great, but they can be very, very clean. They were yesterday. I'm hoping today will be the same thing. 37.03 low of the pre-market, high of the pre-market 37.81. You know what? I might move this down to a possible today because it's not the cleanest looking one as far as pre-market action. Above that 39.20, great area of resistance right on here as well. And then towards the bottom of the pre-market low, 37.05, you got tons of highs and lows from the last two trading days. But I think I'm going to move this down to a possible. And the reason for that is because I think the pre-market looks okay, not as great as some of the ones we have up here already. So a quick recap, we have FTFT, very active this morning. QS is okay. That might be a possible. Let me see. CHPT doing good there. We have NEO, very nice, going up against that high of the pre-market one more time. We have MU, and we also have Apple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That completes my main list. Let's take a look at what we have on our possibles list. If there's anything better that we can replace from the main watch list, we have plug here, which I think it can be real nice. It was great yesterday, and a couple of these in here were very nice too in the intraday. But right now, I think some other ones are looking a little bit better. We have Tesla here. You could go with Tesla or NEO or XPEF. Either three of these, either one of these three are amazing right now. They're very active, tons of volume, and their pre-market is looking really, really good. I'm going to go with NEO. They tend to be a little bit more aggressive on the moves. PLTR's daily looks good, guys. Let's do some levels. I want to be ready for PLTR if it's going to trade clean, but again, I think 8 times out of 10, this thing is choppy. It was clean yesterday, and guess what? I did not have it on my list. High of the pre-market 24. Above this, we do have a great level right on here, 24.89, and then all the way up here at 27.42. So we'll see. We'll see how PLTR does today. All right, what's going on with EBON here? So they again, they had a catalyst here for a secondary, I believe. Right now they're just kind of getting a little bit of a bounce. So again, we're getting some good volume. Just be careful with this one. Let this one settle down and see what it's going to do. And if you have a strategy, which actually you have to have a strategy, make sure it actually is a strategy. You're not just chasing something because you're seeing movement and a lot of volume coming in here. So just be mindful of that. Make sure you take a look at that trade book for a second time before you take this trade. BLK is okay. We'll leave it on here. A fuel cell, it's decent. Again, I love these pops we're getting here. I think a lot's going to depend, is the market going to run this morning? I think if we see any kind of strength in the market, and Jared was talking about this here, a lot of this is going to spark these stocks up to go a little bit higher here. They're already primed. They're just waiting to see, okay, is this what we're doing today, right? So XPEV is good, and SQ as well. Not really a lot going on SQ, but man, their last couple of days have been so explosive. Especially yesterday, right out of the gates, took off nicely. Can they do that today again? So I'll have it on here, but I'll be looking for that to see how it's going to start today. All right, let's take a look over on our moderators list, see what we have today. So let's bring that over. Where's my, here we go. Okay, here we go. Bring this right over here. You guys should be able to see that. Let's go up to the top. What do we have here? Dima. So she is watching NEO, Fuel Cell, MU, and XPEF. Thor is watching the EV sector, is looking very hot today. NEO, plug. And he's also watching MU for a possible earnings play there. Jerry is watching the EVs, NEO, XPEF. You can also go to Tesla if you'd like to trade that one. We have Apple, and he's looking for second day continuation on Apple there as well. Mike is looking at Facebook and BA for a possible break of high scanner, break of high play there. Eamon is looking at XPEF, INTC, plug, secondary list, Facebook, MU, and Riot. Peter, IPO is opening up today. ULCC, C Comp, EMP, I was going to say EMP, but EM, KLTR, IINN. Man, these tickers are so weird. KARO and also INTM. So very active IPO for this day here on a Thursday, the last day of the week. Tiffany, she's looking at MU, NEO, and Tesla this morning. All right, guys. So that is what we have. We got a little bit of time here. We can answer some questions, look at some more stocks that might be looking good.
Yeah, ULCC is probably the best. That's Frontier Airlines IPO.
Oh yeah, somebody put that in the chats. Yeah, that's actually
somebody
decent.
DM'd me
Yeah.
about it as well.
ULCC.
We'll see. You never know.
We'll put that on there and see what's going on there. But yeah, that's a decent company there. Okay, here we go. All right, perfect, guys. So that is what we have, guys. Quick recap. We have FTFT on here. I have QS, and I hope this is not a fear of missing out type play because you guys are trading this amazingly, but I'll have it on here. I got CHPT as well on here. Good pre-market action, nice pop. NEO is definitely on the list, retesting that 42.14. The high of the pre-market is a little bit higher. I might keep this 42.14 here anyways, even if the high of the pre-market goes up higher. Let's see if we're going to create some kind of support resistance level on that. MU is good, and we'll also have Apple this morning. So yeah, that is what we have, guys. Norm, anything else that we might have missed? Anything else we can answer for anybody? We got a couple of minutes.
No, but if anybody's, we don't usually get to. They don't put times on IPOs. It depends on when they price. Usually, it's around about an hour after the market opens. It depends on it, especially hyped IPOs typically take longer because they have to match the books. It's not a just ready, set, go. The IPO was last night. It IPO'd, I believe, at $19. So the people that are investment bankers and the Goldmans, the Bank of America Security, those people can get in on it. Big money folks can get in on it at that price. And then when it actually opens for secondary trading, which is on the markets, they have to take all the orders that they have and match prices and then determine what the actual opening price is. So it often, especially with something that's, when like an Airbnb or Uber or a Facebook or some big name IPOs, it takes a long time. I've seen it take several hours for them to be able to match the price. And especially if they underprice the IPO, they might, the IPO price for Frontier, for instance, is 19. If it was one of those big tech companies with a ton of attention, you might have people putting orders in and it marches the opening price up to 50, 60, $80. I mean, we've seen them open double, triple before. It takes a long time to get those books matched up before they can actually open it for trading.
Yeah. So we have Tom mentioning FSR here. FSR is decent too, guys. It's got a 6.3 pop here this morning. Definitely worth, for me, I'm going to put it as a possible today. What was the low flow we had this morning? UPC. What's going on there? So UPC is starting to come back a little bit here. Kind of dying down the volume, so not great. We'll have to see if that picks up later as we get closer to the market open. All right, guys. What else do we have? Someone mentioned Viacom in our TradeView chat here.
God, that chart just kills me.
Oh, it's just insane. It's just
brutal.
I mean, it took 3-4 months to get to 105, 3 days to just lose that. Wow, just insane. So for intraday trade though, guys, I think these stocks are not great. We had a couple of good drops here that they ran nicely, and even with the nice drop, the spread was brutal. It was a 50-80 cent spread easily.
You could catch some huge moves there, but you had to have a wide stop. They were, not clean necessarily. There were some clean aspects of it, but I'll tell you, just on a day-to-day basis, this is not the kind of thing that you're going to want to keep an eye on for very long unless there's another catalyst. It's just, you can see that the tiny bodies in those candles, even leading up that ramp from, the beginning of the year till now, just tiny, tiny bodies with not a whole lot of movement, really.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I don't now, especially I think we might get some chop here. I don't think you're gonna get like a reversal that's gonna do this, right? Going back up to 95. I don't think that's gonna happen. And if it does, it's gonna be very slow. It's not gonna be a good intraday trading stock there. So All right, guys, that is what we have. Remember, tomorrow we are off. Markets are closed. Brian is coming in with his list. He's watching NEO, XBEF, EBON, MU, GSX, and for swing trading, he's watching TAN and Fuel Cell for possible swings. If you haven't done so already, guys, sign up for the swing trading alerts from Brian. It is completely free. Go over to our website and sign up for that. You get a very nice, clean email. Just what he's looking at, what are the watch lists. He's also put something on YouTube every Wednesday and Sunday evening. So make sure you keep up on that. And also, don't just blindly follow him. Get his book, right? How to Swing Trade. Make sure you do that so you can know exactly what you're doing, and then you'll be throwing us ideas on swing trades in our forum. So we'd love to see that. Guys, take care, trade safe. Remember risk management, how important it is today. The market is actually trading very nice the last couple of days. So just keep in mind that no matter how good things are, you have to have great risk management, right? No matter how good of a trader are, the best traders are amazing risk managers. We tell this to everyone. So you have to be able to do that. So definitely control yourself. Be very disciplined. We have a nice long 3-day weekend coming up. The last thing you want to do here is start your month off on the wrong side of things, right? On the wrong foot, and also end your week in the wrong side of things. So it's just tons of combinations that can blow up your mental, your trading mindset, right? So just be careful on that today. Be very disciplined. Be patient. There's a lot moving today. You do not have to take a trade in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You could wait 15 hours, 2 hours to take your first trade. Just look at your trade book, make sure whatever's there is what you're seeing on the screen. Don't start making up stuff and say, hey, this looks like this when it's completely not true. Be honest with yourself when it comes to trading, guys. So good luck today.
Telling everybody not to be an April Fool, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Don't be an April Fool today when it comes to your account. So
take care, guys.
Take care, guys. Trade safe. Have a great long weekend, and we'll see you. We'll see you
Monday.
Excellent, guys. Take care.